Hello and welcome to Wargame European Escalation. My name is R.H.B and today we'll be playing through the second mission in the Fatal Error campaign, Ambush Alley.
November 15th, 1979. Despite initial successes, the NATO offensive is hampered by unprepared supply lines. It is especially true for Centag troops, whose convoys must cross the Thüringen Wald. Deploy your air and land forces to make sure that the convoys can drive through this valley. Those starships have a weaker armor than the M60A3, but they have a 20mm anti-aircraft autocannon and some guided missiles. Use the hills to get the best lines of fire. The AH-1E Cobra has enough mobility to strike anywhere along the road. Its rockets are able to destroy or stun light armored vehicles. The OH-58C Kiowa is your main recon unit. It will spot the enemy if you give it a clear line of sight. The M113 ACAV is a slower ground recon vehicle. If we can hold Delta, this central position will allow us to control the valley and repel the enemy. Then we will have to keep all the outposts along the road and protect the convoy from enemy counterattacks. No matter your losses, the convoy must pass at any price.
The idea is pretty simple. We need to capture all the points along the highway and hold until the convoy has passed. There's 2 points on our starting zone. I'll put some defenses around to prevent any cheeky flanking maneuvers from the Soviet troops. The rest of our forces will be dedicated to capturing the highway. Since we are armored cavalry, for the most part, I'll be using just tanks. We have a small amount of helicopters available for us. Those will be our reserve in this unit, in this mission. The idea is to take a rather large force at the beginning and shed units along the way to hold the harder to keep points. Also, the CVs I have at the beginning, one will immediately start moving over to Delta, another will go to a better position. I find the two first missions in the Fatal Error campaign to be quite interesting. The role of Armored Cavalry is both recon, scouting essentially, and convoy protection. And these are the 2 missions created in the campaign. Convoy protection along a highway this long where attacks can come from anywhere is a bit of a nightmare. That's why I need to do a tactically bad thing. I need to spread my troops around along the highway. Unfortunately, ground vehicles are too slow to otherwise reach the needed positions to lend support if the enemy manages to reach the highway. For the most part, I'll try and hold not at the highway but at the hills around it. We have reached the central delta zone. It should be easy enough to drive the enemy CV away and take over the zone now.
Someone need a guardian angel? Just spit it out. Advancing to quarters.
It's important to keep your troops moving all the time. There's not much time. We have to capture all the capture points within 5 minutes to achieve a secondary objective. So the basic idea of getting a big bunch of units and just hitting pedal to the metal is a valid one here. Cobras work well enough for anti-air purposes. I don't have any dedicated anti-air units with me, but that's fine. The starships will hold long enough for me to send Cobras or something else at the scene if the enemy tries to use helicopters.
Ready to move, sir. Just spit it out. Lead, all of you, get out of my way.
Another secondary objective is capturing Echo, Delta and Golf simultaneously. So I need to call out at least 2 more CVs. Made a small mistake there. See if you can catch it and guess what it was. Right, that's the first part of the mission, the easy part. Next we must hold all the zones, or all the capture points, until 50 friendly units have passed the area. Also, we mustn't lose any of our convoy troops while we passing. Lost a single M901 there. That's a big loss actually, because they all are max vetted. I'd like to save as many of them as possible to the final mission, where I surely will need all my troops.
Got something for me? Go ahead. Are you talking to me?
Right, that's a couple of Soviet tanks. When we kick them out of Golf, we should be able to capture both Echo and Golf.
Ja, Kommandant. Just spit it out.
Going to get a command helicopter, since it's slightly faster now that the roads are clogged with vehicles.
Need some extra eyes, sir? Got the binoculars, Corporal. Missile in firing position, sir.
Looks like the enemy has kept one hind nearby but hasn't attacked. We might as well shoot it down.
My staff and myself are ready, sir.
The trouble of defending a long front like this is that you'll have to spread your units around while the enemy can concentrate his. Now, the mission briefing told us that the heaviest attacks would happen around Delta, so that's where I'll be concentrating most of my troops. Still, I need to have some token forces stationed elsewhere, just in case the enemy tries to scout for a better place for a breakthrough. The line must hold everywhere. Looks like that's, well, they will be attempting their first push. If we can take down the two hinds before the attack starts, we have advantage. There was the mistake I mentioned earlier. The Strela 2 team lived. I should have made sure it was dead. They got off 2 missiles and the first one hit my command helicopter. If the second one would have hit my command helo also, trying to capture both or all 3 zones at the same time would have been really hard. Right, that's quite a lot of tanks. Unfortunately, it looks like they didn't bring any anti-air units with them. I have no idea why, but that should make easy pickings for my Cobras. One of the Cobras apparently keeps sniping at some enemy units far, far away. As long as we have extra missiles, why not? Despite the ongoing fight, it's important to keep calling in more units all during the fighting. Now that we have 3 zones, we'll start gathering extra points really quickly. So call in more units, deploy them where you think they'll be needed. That's most of the counterattack smashed. 1 flame tank still lives, but that's not much. I'm not going to repeat the mistake here. This one I'll hunt down before it can escape.
Ready, sir.
Looks like the next attack is going to come from the other side of the Thüringen Valley. This might be a problem. I only have 1 squadron of helicopters in reserve. I can't spread them into 2 places at once without spreading them thin. I'll send some tanks over and hope the T-72s won't get too bold.
What are your orders, sir?
Made another blunder. There I ran headlong into enemy infantry. Fortunately we get shots off and kill half of the enemy troops immediately, but still we lose most of our tanks in the attempt. The T-34s are not a problem, they are inaccurate and can't really hit anything on the move. I can just take the Cobras and take the tanks out. If the infantry manages to get close enough, that's another story. Looks like the enemy counterattack is mostly smashed. Any more units and we might be in trouble here, but as it is, I can just call in more units.
Yes, sir.
You'd be blind without us.
Almost there. A couple of more friendlies and we are done. And that's it. That's all of the objectives completed. We got a rather nice list of kills for our helicopters. They did most of the hard work here. The patterns did well also. Looks like we lost a few of them, but that's fine. We have enough tanks that they won't become a problem just yet. Thanks for watching. This is R.H.B signing out. Peace.